everyone, thank you for joining me. My name is Brenda. I'm with Kraken Coastal Designs, and this is what we're going to be working on today. Bear with me, this is my first video, so I just wanted to put something together for you all and show you how. I've had a lot of people request a video on how to do the waves that I do. I do a lot of different pieces of furniture, and I put this technique on it, and so I wanted to show you all what I've learned over the years. And I do a lot of different things actually, but today this is what we're going to be working on. You can follow me on Facebook at Kraken Coastal Designs. I also have a website, same name, and also if you wouldn't mind subscribing and giving me a thumbs up if you like the video. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them in the comments. I will put a link to the products that I use, and if I can get any affiliate links with discounts, I will certainly put those in there for you too. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining me, and we will start with the video. Okay, hello everyone. I'm not going to tell you how many times I have started to make videos or tried to make a video of this process of waves. I started on another one this morning. I poured the waves, and here it is. It's not done, but anyway, so I poured this morning, was making a video of everything, and my camera didn't turn on. Well, I mean, it didn't, I don't know what it did. It didn't stay on, it didn't record. So I decided to go ahead and go to Walmart and pick up two of these boards. I forget what these are called, but nonetheless, they're at Walmart for like a little under $6. And they're already framed in. This particular one, I made the frame myself, and I don't advise doing that, not on something this small, not unless it's just something that you know how to do and is real easy for you, because I'm not a carpenter, not by any means, and this was like a big pain in the butt to make. So, and then I figured out that I could actually go to Walmart and buy these. And they normally are used like this and put some sort of decoupage or something on the front, but when you flip them over and you prime them, you have the same thing as what I was trying to build over here. Yeah, the frame's a little bit different, but who cares about that, right? It still works. So anyway, you're going to need to prime these before we lay down our base coat of Dixie Belle. And yes, I use Dixie Belle, Wise Owl, Amy Howard. I use whatever kind of paints. I do so many different things. And this is Wise Owl Stain Eliminating Primer, and this is in gray. I happen to have it on hand, so that's what we're going to use today. Because it works great. And I've already got it. Don't have to buy anything. So we're going to prime this piece of wood. I've sanded these a little bit, but they're going to need more sanding after I prime them. I'm going to sand them again, and then we'll tape it off. Paint the frame in white like the other one, and then we'll go in and lay down our background colors, show you how to blend those and what colors I use there. And then we'll get into, hopefully, if my camera works for the entire time, I will actually show you how to put the waves on. But I cannot tell you how many projects I've started, and at one point in the project the camera didn't record. I did not know for a long time that you could only record up to, the cameras are set to record at for a specific length of time. I didn't know this. Mine is set at 20 minutes. When you turn your camera on to record, it will say how long your recording can be, 20, 30 minutes. I think the maximum right now for a camera is 30 minutes. If you have to go any longer than that, then you're going to need to get a video recorder. Cameras will not record any longer than 30 minutes unless you go in and change the, not the settings, but you have to go in and actually change the programming in the camera. And I don't know how to do that. Some probably would, but I don't. But anyway, the reason for that is they're taxed when they come into the country. If it records longer than 30 minutes, then it's taxed as a video recorder instead of a camera, from what I understand. I hope I'm saying that right, but I couldn't figure out what was going on and why it wouldn't record longer, and apparently that's the reason. So It's always something, isn't it? So anyway, don't talk more than 20 minutes. Set yourself a timer if you've got a big project. These projects are not 20 minutes long. So, on each video, if my camera will just record everything, we'll be good to go. So, I thought, well, I will start with a little project and try and do that so I don't have to worry about the 20-minute window. Probably can't see this in the video, sorry about that, but I was trying to flip it over and get the sides and everything. Get your corners. But I think we're good. We're going to let those dry. I'll come back and paint them white. I probably won't put that on film. You don't really want to see all that, I'm sure. So, but just come back, prime them, excuse me, sand them lightly, and then come back and prime them, not prime them, paint them whatever color you want. You know, if you use Dixie Belle, if you use Wise Owl, if you use acrylic, well, I don't care what you use. It doesn't really matter, because that resin will go over any of it. So, anyway, that's that. I was trying to think oh, I got to show you this brush. Is an Amy Howard brush. This is, I think they're, this is her 2.5-inch brush. It's a chip brush that you use over and over again. This is a great little brush. It's like $6 from Amy Howard. I love this brush, but that's what I use for my chip brushes. So we will let these dry, then I will come back. I'll paint them white, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to base coat and put the sand on today. And then tomorrow we'll do the waves after it dries. So, alrighty, thank you. Okay. Hello everyone. I'm back, and I have painted and taped. I've painted the front and the back with fluff, which is Dixie Belle, basically white, kind of a little bit of a, not quite of a white, but a little bit of an off-white there, but it's one of my favorite colors when it comes to whites. So anyway, I've painted them and I've taped them off so that we can paint the insides without getting paint all over the edges here. And then we'll pull that off after we get that done, and we'll work on the sand and go from there. So, first thing, I want to make sure that you've got a mister. I don't know how many of you have worked with Dixie Belle paints, but they are chalk paints, and I use them under every one of my pours, unless I'm doing it on a live edge piece of cedar or pecan or walnut or whatever. Then I'll just pour of course, the resin with, and I'll usually use micas on those. But I have used the alcohol inks. We'll get into that later, what I use on my other art. Oh, I've got paint all over me. My other art pieces. But on this, I'm going to use Dixie Belle to base paint with, and then I'll pour the resin on top of that. So what we're going to start out with is Peacock, and I'm going to do these one at a time because I have had so much trouble with this camera. And I'm going to do one and make sure the camera's still recording. And if it is, then I'll go to the second one. But if it's not, then I can start all over. So it's just the way things are going for me right now with this. Okay, so I need more brushes. I am poor on brushes. These poor things have been through so much, but I have brushes that are, actually I have brushes that are 50 years old that I've been painting since I was 14. So I have brushes from back then, actually, oil brushes. But these are probably about 7 or 8 years old, and they're beginning to look at, I use them for lots of stuff. But these are Annie Sloan's. I've got an Annie Sloan, 2 Annie Sloan brushes, and a Dixie Belle brush. I like these. They're natural bristle brushes, and they work really good at blending. But I am going to have to get some new ones because these are kind of getting a little bit worn out. So, because I use them a lot. So, the first coat is we're just going to lay down a coat here of paint. And yeah, I kind of go from one jar to the next. I shouldn't do that, but it's all this is all I use those for. So it doesn't matter to me anyway. Start out with the Peacock, and then I went to Pure Ocean. Now I'm going to go to the Gulf, and then we'll go to Sea Glass. I'm going to switch brushes from the Gulf to the, from Pure Ocean. So it was Peacock, Pure Ocean, the Gulf, which is really getting thick. It's been around for a while, so I may need to use, which I will, need to use my squirt bottle to get it laid on here and blended. Yeah, I'm going to have to get another jar of that here before long. But as long as I can get anything out of it, I'm using it. And then, last but not least, Sea Glass. And I lost a bristle. Okay, and Sea Glass at the bottom. Get into your corners. I don't know, we might not need to put another coat on. Yeah, I probably will put another coat on. I'll let this dry first. So this coat is not that, we're not that picky with this coat. We just want to put something down. And then we'll go back and blend. Okay, keep a paper towel handy, so if you get too much water, too much paint, you can wipe your brushes off. Okay, now, the very bottom here, I'm going to use sandbar. Yeah, sandbar. Dixie Belle again. Just gonna lay this down. This is just an Amy Howard chip brush. Just trying to get in the corner here. Get something on here. Like I said, I really need more brushes. But this will work for now. Then we will blend that in with this. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. We'll check and make sure this camera's still running. Yay! There we are. Okay, so I'm going to go do the second one. I thought, well, if I do two of these at one time and it quits on one of them, I've got the other one there I can finish up. Because I started, like I said, I started this before in another one, and for some reason it just quit recording, and I do not know why. Start out with Peacock again. Get it in your corners. You know, and you may have a little bit of bleed through from the tape, but that's not that big a deal. The resin's going to cover that. We're just trying not to get it all over the sides. These colors work really, really well with, let's see, we went that way. Let's take it down this way, on this side. These colors of Dixie Belle work really, really well with Let's Resin alcohol inks. It's kind of a disaster today. And again, we're just kind of laying down a base coat on this, so we'll go back with a second coat and blend it. It's blending pretty decent here, but not quite like I want it. And then Sea Glass. Get in the corners. Try to. Okay. I have paint all over everything. Okay, and last but not least, sandbar. And we're going to put some sand over here on this side this time. I'm just going to make it a little bit different. Water, too much water. One more sandbar. No rhyme or reason really in the sand, just wherever you want it. Like I said, we're going to come back again and blend this a little bit better on the second coat. So we're just trying to lay something down for now. Okay, we're going to let those dry. And then we'll come back and put one more coat on. Okay, we're back. And it looks like everything worked out great and it recorded. So we're going to put the last coat on. Let me move this stuff out of the way so we can see. Well, I'm due for some new paints. These are just really getting dry. Okay. Start out again with Peacock. And the second coat, you'll notice, goes on just so much nicer. Try to get your corners. Go from Peacock to Pure Ocean. You don't have to go straight across because waves don't really go that way. Waves go all over. So, you know, just get them blended together. That's the main thing you want to do. And we're going to go from Pure Ocean to the Gulf. Ah, that's dry. Like I said, these are water based, so grab your mister. And last but not least, a little bit of sea glass. Okay. And last but not least, a little bit of sandbar. Whoop, sorry. Getting these corners. Not really sure how I'm going to put where I'm going to put the sand, not how, but where I'm going to put the sand on this. So, now if I was actually painting this on a piece of furniture and not putting resin over it and blending these paints, I'd spend a little bit more time on it, but we're just looking for something on the base underneath the resin. See, this looked just like that, just like this before I put the resin on. So when the resin comes on, see this, look just like this. But when I put the resin on, it all blends so nicely together. So, start out a little more Peacock. Yeah, got a little bit of paint on my white frame. That's alright. A little paint over that. No biggie. Okay, and now we're going to move to the Gulf. It's thick again. and sea glass. I'm going to use a mister just a little bit. Kind of switched to my darker brushes about halfway up. You don't really have to. I mean, you can take the lighter colors on up until they blend out if you want. And then a little bit of sandbar for the sand again. To my, whoops, a little much. Okay. This is a clean brush. Kind of hard to get around the edges, but that's all right. Go back over on this one. Don't do that. It's a clean brush. You don't have to use a clean brush. I just thought I'd tidy this up a little bit. That's just about dry. We're going to pour the sand on here. As soon as I get these brushes cleaned up and everything put away, this ought to be dry. Okay, alrighty. Hello everyone. Everything is dry and we're ready to put on the sand. So I've mixed up, what did I mix up? 60 millimeters of Total Boat, 1-to-1 ratio. Stirred that up. Yeah, it's kind of foamy looking. Got a lot of bubbles in it. It's kind of a little cooler out here in the garage, but we're just mixing sand in it, so that's not a big deal. Now, I usually pour my sand into the resin because I just don't find it works that well pouring the resin into the sand, trying to stir it and everything. So I just pour my resin or my sand into the resin, and I use this white sand. I think I got this from Hobby Lobby. Now you can use regular sand. I have before. One of the things that I do want to tell you about using regular sand is, well, just to give an example, I went down to we were down at Surfside Beach here in Texas, down by Freeport, south of Galveston, south of Houston there. But I brought it back some sand and I made a table, and it turned out real pretty. Well, I found another table that matched, so I was going to make two, and then I found a coffee table, so I was going to make a whole set. Well, I didn't have enough. Ran out of sand, so I went down to Galveston to pick up sand, and that sand in Galveston, when I mixed it, was dark, was very dark and muddy looking. Probably because the water here in Galveston is muddy. It's a lot of silt, so I would imagine that's probably why the sand was like that. It didn't look like that when I picked it up, but when it got wet with the resin, it was too dark. So I had to go all the way back down to Surfside and pick up sand so that my tables would match. Now, so what I do occasionally now is I will take that sand and this sand and mix them together and get something that's a little in between. This time though, we're going to just use the white and stick with that. I just want to go with that look on this one. So we're not even going to mix in any of the regular sand with it. We're just going to go with, I'm sure this is fake, but whatever this is. So anyway, moving right along. We're going to dump that in here. A little bit at a time. stir stick. Try not to dump too much sand in to begin with. Just add a little bit at a time till you get the consistency that you want. You want to be able to spread it, but you also want it, if can, like for it to hold a little bit of shape maybe, because sand's not necessarily flat everywhere. But it's okay if it does level out a lot of times, not a big deal. Okay, that's probably going to be about where we want it. I do want to show you something. I was going to show you this earlier. What we're doing today, this technique, what I'm trying to show you guys, you can put on anything. And I don't think I showed this in the beginning of the video. I started doing tumblers, but I use this same technique on the tumbler. I painted the tumbler with Dixie Belle paints to begin with, and then I put the resin over it. I used my heat gun a little bit to try to move the resin. But you can use this technique on anything. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that so you kind of get some ideas where you'd like to use it. Okay, so see if we can get this out on here. I'm going to go ahead and dump it on both of them while I'm doing this. Try to, without making it god awful mess. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to get another stick. I'm going to move this over to the edges. You want to get right up to the edge. Just kind of take your popsicle stick, smear it over a little bit. And one of the things I do is, when I get it kind of laid out where I want it, I take the popsicle stick and lay it on the sand and pull it up. So the sand doesn't have, so it has a gradient where it goes out to the water. Okay? Hold on here. Okay, I'm going to scoot this guy over for a second. Move this one in. Get another popsicle stick. Make sure we get this up against the edge. I'm going to bring this sand all the way over to the edge on this one. I'm going to add a little bit more down in here in the corners, a little bit thin there. Okay. Okay, same thing. We're going to take these darn gloves are so big. Ugh. do the same thing. I'm going to take a popsicle stick and pull the sand out. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to take this glove off. I'll leave the other one on just in case I need something. If you get sand or anything, resin on the sides, take your alcohol, paper towel, and clean that up before it dries. Okay, now I've got little tiny shells these came from Hobby Lobby. These are little teeny tiny shells. And then I have some cracked shells. I think these are from Michael's. And then I have some of these white rocks. I'm going to add some of this to both of them. Just randomly drop you some rocks on there. You don't want a ton, and you don't want a pattern. Okay, take a few little teeny tiny shells. Same here. Oh, red rocks, sorry. Wrong ones. Love the way these sparkle. And then these shells. They're so cute. They're just teeny tiny shells. Dig around and find some itty bitty ones. Some of these are really pretty. I hope this is still recording. Is it? Yes, finally. Ooh, that was banged up. A couple of teeny tiny ones. Okay. Let's see here. I've got a couple tiny ones out here, so when the waves come in, they can come around these shells. Because I'll bring the waves in down here, so some of these shells will poke through the waves and the foam. Okay, all right. The only other thing I do is I'll dust it with a little bit of this is actually I think I got this from, I don't know, it might have been Michael's, could have been Walmart, but I really like this. It's just a Snowy Surprise, and they're just kind of chunky white, kind of holographic, but they look really pretty under the resin. You don't have to add it, but you can if you want to. I just dust it all over. Okay. All right, now all we got to do is just wait for that to set up, and then we'll come back and do the waves. And I don't know if that'll be tonight or in the morning, but that's all we got left. Well, besides a float coat. So, alrighty, thank you. everyone. We're back. Everything is set up and ready to go. I've mixed up my total boat resin, and it's got a lot of bubbles in it. It's a little cooler out here today, so it bubbles a little bit more. But by the time we get done pouring it on here and putting heat to it and all, it'll be fine. We'll end up popping all those bubbles. So I'm going to mix up 3 different colors of alcohol ink and a little bit of white. I've mixed up, let's see, 5 ounces it was of resin total. Hope that's enough to cover this. It's usually 3 ounces per square foot, but we're only doing, we're only doing a little over half a board. It's a little half a foot, so we should be fine. So I need a little tiny bit for the white, not much. I always seem to pour too much for the white. So for the white, I've got a little bit of clear left, and I probably poured a little too much out. A little bit more clear. Okay, so we're going to save this for the clear, for the waves. We'll put that to the side. So now I've got 3 containers for, and 4 containers, 3 for the blues, the water, and 1 for the white. And I always keep a paper towel handy with with alcohol on it. I'm trying to clean my gloves up a little bit. I'm always getting this stuff everywhere. And I have my gloves taped on because they're too big. My other gloves haven't gotten here yet. Sometime today, hopefully, because I'm down to my last 2 pair of these goofy things, and they're so hard to work with. So we're going to use about 5, 6, 7 drops of Peacock. Now I use Let's Resin, and this is their Ocean kit. So it comes with some really pretty colors. Several blues, greens. We even have some yellows, pinks, and reds, lavenders, turquoise, all different colors in here. But this is our Ocean kit, and I use a lot of it. I use it actually on anytime I do an ocean scene on a piece of wood like this, and I paint my Dixie Belle underneath. I use Let's Resin. Like I said, they match so close to these colors, and it just turns out really pretty. I just kind of stumbled onto that. But I do use micas. I do use Mermaid Trash micas. I also use, let's see, what's the other one? Eye Candy. I use Eye Candy. They're pretty too. They've got some beautiful micas. And I'll use those when I do my live edge benches or live edge charcuterie boards, things like that. When I'm putting them on just bare wood, something that has not been painted. But I've used micas on my wood wall decor before, 3D wall decor before. But I really do like the way Let's Resin works with the Dixie Belle. Really do. Okay, so we're going to do Peacock for the first color. I'm going to use a little bit of Peacock, a couple drops of Peacock in the second color, but I'm going to use green. This is teal. So put 6, 7, 8 of those in there. Stir that up. Okay. I am so full. I went to Chipotle's before I started this. I haven't been to Chipotle's for a while. Oh, I really like them. But it is way more than I can eat. And that hibiscus lemonade is the bomb. So, anyways, I ate lunch before I started this. I decided to eat on my way home. I hadn't been out to eat for a while. Okay, whoops, last color I used was aquamarine. Excuse me, I forgot to tell you. So I've got 3 different colors mixed up here, dark to light. I've got aquamarine for the light green. I've got teal and peacock for the middle color. and peacock for the blue, for the dark blue. Well, actually it's not dark, it's peacock. But you can mix them any way you want, really. Any of these colors, any of the blues and greens out of this kit work real well with the colors that I gave you, or told you, that I used with Dixie Belle. So any of those work good. As long as you're going from dark to light, you're good. And I need to make a little bit of white. I lost my cap. This comes with a cap. Well, I was squeezing it and the cap blew off into my resin. Well, that was the end of that. So anyway, I have no cap on it now. So, but it's really, really thick. I wish there was a way to... Okay, we don't need too much. Just a dollop. A dollop will do you. And this is their white. This is Let's Resin foam white. I have used Mermaid Trash foam white with this, with Let's Resin inks. Works great too. But lately I've been using the Let's Resin foam white. All right. Okay, we're gonna get started here. I'm gonna check and make sure this camera's still working. And it is, yay. Okay, we're gonna start with our darker blue and just drizzle it across the back of the piece. Save enough for the other one. Scrape what you can out of there. Okay, set that aside. And we're going to do the next blue that we mixed up. No rhyme or reason really. You just want to make sure you get it on there and get everything covered. We're going to kind of mix these together once I get it on here. Okay, put that aside. And then the next one is the aquamarine. We're going to bring that closer to the sand. Be sure and save enough for, if you're doing two like I am, may as well do two of these. They're small. If you're going to mix stuff up, may as well mix up enough to do two of them. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. And find my paper towel, get some of this off of my hands. Okay, so this is where these monstrous gloves really start to become a problem, but you need to push, or you need to come in and spread your resin around. Be sure you get it up into the corners. You might have to use a popsicle stick to do that. Yeah, this is the fun part. I'm trying to get it up along this edge without making a mess. Spread that around a little bit. Gotta get right up there in that corner. Okay. Kind of blend them together a little bit. A few little swirls here and there so they look like waves. when we start blowing it with the blow dryer that I got all over the side. I'll wipe that up in a minute. I just want to get this spread out real quick so we can put the clear and the white on and get this blown out before it starts to set up. Oh, these gloves. I'm making a mess. Having the right gear is important. The right PPE, as they call it. Now, whenever you make one of these and you use, let's say, the other side of this board to where you don't have the sides built up like this, whenever you put your resin on and you use your heat gun, you're going to end up blowing some of that off. You probably put it on a little bit thicker. I didn't put it on quite as thick because we're not blowing any of it off. It's staying on the board. Okay, so there's that. Now, let's pour the clear. Get a hold of this. And you're going to run right along where you last dumped the green. And we're going to come up over the sand a little bit here. Hope I got enough. Yeah, I do. I got plenty. If you need to use your popsicle stick to spread this out over to the side, make sure you get up against that board. See how we're doing over here. Okay, now add the white in, and we're going to go right along the edge where we added the clear resin. Sometimes it's kind of tricky to see where it exactly was. There we go. Save a tiny bit because I'm going to put some on the back of this probably. Okay, I gotta take these gloves off so I can handle the blow dryer and the heat gun. I'm going to leave one on. Take this off. Alright. white here in the back. Just a little. One little wave going across there. And a tiny one here. Not much. Okay. You don't have to, but I did. So. Now, we pull out the heat gun. If I can find it. Where did I lay it? Okay. And see if we can get this to sell just a little. Actually, it's selling pretty good. It looks really nice. But I'm going to put a heat gun on anyway. And not too much, but just enough to see if we can get a little bit more lacing going on. It makes my light flicker. I gotta change that. I just put that light, just installed that light. I couldn't find a light socket, so I stuck it on this same, strip, and it makes it's too much of a pull, I guess. I gotta fix that. Actually, I'm not gonna do too much to this. I kind of like the way it is. Just on some of these thicker white pieces, thin them out a little bit so you can get them to lace a little more. One thing about it, when you do these boards like this, ooh, that's pretty. When you do these boards like this and you're blowing the resin back, it has a tendency to flow right back. So that's one reason why I don't put it on really thick on these. I just kind of have to work with it a thinner layer than what I normally would on a piece where it would run off, because it's just going to hit that back wall and come right back forward. And you don't want it too much on there. I've done that before. Put too much resin on, taking the blow dryer and blowing it, and then it just it just washes right back and just wipes out all of my cells and lacing and everything. So anyway, we're almost done. You know, where the paper towel is just not gonna work. But take a little bit of alcohol. I want to make sure all the dust is off of here. Whenever your projects are finished, don't clean them with alcohol. I mean, paper towel. Don't use a microfiber on any of your resin products, resin pieces. Now it's not such a big deal because we're going to be putting another coat of resin on the top of this. So I just want to make sure I get all the dust, fingerprints, anything from my hands, any oil from your hands off of it. You want to make sure that the resin sticks to this really good. So I've mixed up, what did I mix up? I mixed up 8 ounces. I really only needed about 6, but I'm going to kind of put this on a little bit thick because we've got shells on it, and I just want to make it a little bit thicker than what I would on a, just another project, just because this is framed in and we can do that. So mixed up half and half, total boat, even amounts. Make sure you mix it up really good. Stir all around the edges. I know we've got some bubbles in here, but we'll get those out. That's not a big deal. We'll use our heat gun and get it out. So anyway, all we're going to do is pour and smear this around so we get it even on both of them. I'll save just a little bit for the end. And then I have these big monstrous gloves again. My gloves were supposed to be here last night. They have not shown up yet. So now it says they're supposed to be here by 9 p.m. tonight, so we'll see, because this is the last pair I've got. And they're just too big. So make sure you get this all in the corners. All along the edges. Don't want any gaps. And make sure you get over all of your seashells. It's always good to kind of get down at the side and look across your piece to make sure that you didn't miss a spot, because I have certainly done that before. Missed a corner, missed a spot, missed a little patch around the seashells. We've all done it. And when you do that, sometimes you have to re-pour. And that can get costly. You know how much resin costs. Okay, I think I've got that one. Go to the next one. Oh, and make sure your piece is level. Take out a level. Oh, these gloves. Take out a level and make sure it's level. Otherwise, your resin's going to run to one end or the other. Come all along your edges. Make sure you get in the corner. Okay, I'm going to take the, well here, let's dump the rest of this resin on here. Like I said, we're just going to make this a little thicker than we normally do. It'll level out. Okay. Look at all that resin. Look at these gloves. They're a mess. Okay, I'm going to take this glove off and put a heat gun to it. Make sure we get all the bubbles off of it. We've got quite a few bubbles in this. Okay, I was trying to get this resin good and warm to try and get these bubbles to come to the surface, and they're doing a pretty good job of it. I'll probably come back in a little bit and hit it again, not too long, maybe 10 minutes or so, and hit it again with the heat gun just to pop any that might have surfaced again. But I think we're looking pretty good. So anyway, we will, I'll come back later and we'll put you all through that. But those are done. So this is my first video that I have managed to get all the way through, believe it or not. And looks like I've got to clean a little bit of resin off of these, but I'll do that in a minute. But I'm going to turn these around so you can see them, how nicely they turned out. So I'm going to, I've been working on an affiliate program trying to set up with Let's Resin so I can get you all a discount code. So if I can get that, I'm going to put a link and a discount code in the description down below. So I'll list, you know, Let's Resin and the other products that I use and all, and where you can get them. So anyway, I appreciate you joining me and watching the video. I am going to continue to work on more videos in the future. Like I said, I've gotten into tumblers, so I will actually start posting some videos for tumblers too. So if you're interested in any of those, just hit the subscribe button and the like button and follow me. You can find me on Kraken Coastal Designs on Facebook. I've got a website of Kraken Coastal Designs, and I'm on Instagram. Haven't gotten on TikTok yet, and I'm just now getting things set up on Etsy. So anyway, I really appreciate you watching the video. I apologize if it's a little bit long. I'll get better at it, I promise. But anyway, thank you so much.